have very advanced queryable capabilities and visualizations that would take months, quarters, years to develop on your own that we embody in a button. And because we're not SaaS, we're deployed locally, cocooned inside of their cloud, their cloud estate. And we run performant in RAM as well. Like, so it's very high performing. So when we ingest all of their cloud configuration and their billing data and mesh that into visualizations and automations, that data never leaves their cloud. It's DMZ'd, locked into their cloud. We're never pulling that over the wire, or more importantly, permanently storing that data in our own Hyperglance cloud, because there isn't a Hyperglance cloud. We're not SaaS, where we run inside of their estate.
Hi, I'm here with my friend Steve Robinson, CEO of Hyperglance, and wanted to do a quick highlight with you on your product and the solution. And so, just in a nutshell, what does Hyperglance do?
So first of all, Walter, thank you for having us on here. Appreciate that. So Hyperglance broadly is a cloud management platform. We specifically focus and zero in on three fronts. One is multi-cloud inventorying and visualization, and then optimization. Rolled up a lot of common buzz around that is FinOps. So we're a FinOps platform. We're also a CSPM, a cloud security posture management platform, and by extension, compliance platform. We come pre-built with over 260 rules. So, and then lastly, we're an automation suite, and in terms of tying all those things together. So it's all about visualizing your multi-cloud estate, understanding your posture across expense or cost, security, and compliance, and then being able to automate and bridge really the functions between the architects, the DevOps teams, and the finance or FP&A or FinOps departments.
So, what makes Hyperglance unique?
I love this question. There's three points here. What the engineer really needs, the cloud architect needs, is to stop the car, pop the hood, go around the front, pull up the hood, and really look at the engine, the chassis, get very microscopic in terms of their analysis, understanding point in time and over time of their multi-cloud estate or singular cloud. And to really understand how you get 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 layers deep into that dashboard. And how do they use that information? They use that for right-sizing architecture. They use that for providing granular reporting in what we call unit economic reporting to their finance department or their FinOps department. There's a lot of different use cases we can go into, but that granularity and really that customizability, click button, put customizability is the differentiating, one of the differentiating factors. The second is our deployment model. We're used in the Department of Defense at the highest levels. We're used in highly regulated verticals like healthcare and finance, financial services. And so they need to know two things: that their data is secure and that it's not going to be exposed in any way. And because we're not SaaS, we're deployed locally, cocooned inside of their cloud, their cloud estate. And we run performant in RAM as well. Like, so it's very high performing. So when we ingest all of their cloud configuration and their billing data and mesh that into visualizations and automations, that data never leaves their cloud. It's DMZ'd, locked into their cloud. We're never pulling that over the wire, or more importantly, permanently storing that data in our own Hyperglance cloud, because there isn't a Hyperglance cloud. We're not SaaS, where we run inside of their estate. So to continue the metaphor, pull the sports car into the garage, close the garage door, and you're inside the house. And that's how we run. And again, we have some very stringent customer requirements, particularly in the DoD and highly regulated verticals. The third piece is scale. We have customers that have hundreds of subscriptions, multi-cloud, representing tens, hundreds of thousands, millions of resources, inventory visualized and automated in our platform. So it scales, and it runs, as I said, technically in RAM. So it's very responsive in terms of how it performs.
So, thinking about a problem to solve, like what type of customer is a really good prospect for you if they have a certain type of problem that they need a resolution to? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's the segmentation is really horizontal. It's more about cloud spend. So, the value of our product, really kind of the entry point is roughly 50K monthly in cloud spend in aggregate. Doesn't have to be. We have smaller customers. We'll go down market if they're interested in that journey. But typically that's where it starts and then just scales up from there. Like I said, we've got customers running millions of dollars of spend in cloud a year. And then the other thing that I like to overlay to that is where are they in what I call their FinOps maturity model. There's three layers, in an abstract way, where we don't know what's running out there. We have no idea, and we really need to know, right? There's the first door opener. The second is we're running it by spreadsheets. We're managing by spreadsheets, and we may be using Cost Explorer from AWS as an example, but we've got some reporting going on, but it's really in its infancy. And then there's the mature FinOps organization that really knows what they're doing. And we address all three market segments. We have very advanced queryable capabilities and visualizations that would take months, quarters, years to develop on your own that we embody in a button. For instance, our reference architecture, dynamically rendered reference architecture diagrams with 50 attributes of overlay to that. That's not something that you can just go build. And so we address that. But then just the body of most customers are kind of finding their way around cloud management in general and cloud spend, security, and posture management more specifically. And we address those problems in a very unique way and in a way that's also integratable to adjacent tools. So maybe they're using ServiceNow for service ITSM, IT service management. They've got that box checked, but to get more granular on their cloud estate, they would look to us to do that.
You mentioned cloud architects. Who really uses it on a daily basis, and why do they love it?
I also love that question. So it's typically a cloud architect, a cloud engineer. Many times they'll be titled SRE, Site Reliability Engineer. We also get those that wear a few hats, a little broader, that are DevOps oriented in titling that log on to our system. What they love about it is their pain points. There's multiple pain points. A lot of them get tapped on the shoulder, even if it's not technically the FinOps department yet, right? They're not on that maturity scale, but it's the finance department. Hey, what are we spending? We're seeing, drift, sprawl, outlier spend the last quarter. What is going on? I need a report that's intuitive, that helps me understand that. So we take, they could spend pivot tables, spreadsheets, and first of all, as a DevOps engineer or a core engineer, that's not core to what they do, right? So we help with that easy button. We also help facilitate planning, architectural discussions with the diagramming and the visualizations beyond diagramming that help facilitate a constructive, what is the optimized architecture, factoring performance and cost together. So building cost into the architect, cost considerations into the architecture, right? That's a key component and a value add you can get from the platform among many that helps facilitate conversations, again, from architects, I would even argue developers and the finance department. So we're a bridge. Our product bridges those conversations in a meaningful way. We get used for tag cleanup. So tagging is a very fundamental building block to a clean FinOps house or operation, right? But it can be fat fingered, and there's a lot of prone to human error. So we get used for cleaning up tags in terms of our deep query and automation suite. The visualization around, again, the finance side of the house. We have a lot of customers across verticals, again, that are using us for just basic exportable and automated reporting and automated delivery of reporting on a weekly cadence in terms of different custom views to their cloud estate spend, driving unit economics. And then lastly, the architecture. You have a point in time architecture. Is that optimized? Do you have idle resources you're not using? Are you oversized on your virtual machines? You're right. And you bought a semi truck, to be metaphoric here, and really all you needed was a pickup truck size virtual machine, and you're wasting tons of money every month on that because you're not right size holding performance at a constant SLA or acceptable performance level. So, there's we have customers that are doing all the above, We have customers that are doing pieces of that. We have customers that are also, I haven't talked about the security compliance piece yet, but we monitor over 200 plus rules of compliance, as stringent as government level, impact level 5, 4, 4, 5, and other HIPAA for the healthcare vertical, PCI DSS for fintech, et cetera. So we also monitor and enable all those pieces in the platform as well.
So, Steve, you mentioned earlier the easy button and human productivity as a real differentiator. So, can you explain that a little bit more?
No, absolutely. So I guess I'll back into, we have an ROI calculator, and a lot of companies have those, and some they come in very basic form or more comprehensive. I would consider ours comprehensive for the fact that we actually draw into it the customer's actual data in terms of rendering point in time and overtime gains in cost savings. But cost savings, if it was just about cost savings, that's compelling and can be compelling, the singular reason why. But in our case, it's not. In our case, we also have a very deep, granular productivity map that we put together for our clients and customers that are also expanding with us. In terms of, to give you an example, if you're going to go, if you're being audited or not, and you just need to understand a visualization or an architectural diagramming capability for your cloud estate. And again, with us, you're getting all these attributes. You can query down and drill down 10, 12 layers deep, get to the most elemental billable resource, okay, and understand what is my security posture, my costs in time and overtime, trend and anomaly. I can look at all these different technical config parameters around that, right? And if you were to, if an engineer were to do that or be tasked with doing that, you're talking hours, weeks, months of labor to do that. And we literally embody that in a second. But that's not, as I've already outlined, that's not all we do. We've got the automations, we've got the cost optimizations, we've got remediation where we'll fix things, and the automation that wraps around that. So again, back to productivity. There's a lot of productivity gain, and it's not just set it and forget it automation, right? Where you're kind of taking away from the value of the engineer. Or what's the engineer going to do, right? It's more about empowering, enabling the engineer and the DevOps specialist with these tools that help them be more efficient in their day-to-day job.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned some really cool things. So the cost savings, time savings, planning ahead in the architecture, lots of unique advantages. And just as a reminder, it doesn't matter the sector, but more just if you're spending a certain amount on cloud, you mentioned like 50K per month and above, there's definitely some advantage to be had with Hyperglance, correct?
Absolutely.
Well, we'll provide a slide where people can just click on or view the QR code and capture that and find out more and get a demo if they want to do that. And then we'll also provide your LinkedIn if people want to just reach out to you. And anything else you want to add?
No, I just appreciate the time here, Walter. It's something I'm very passionate about in terms of what
Yeah,
we do. There's a lot of value in the product and the software, and a lot of conversations we can have.
awesome. So, Steve, if you were to pose a question to some fellow CEOs in the DevOps, DevTool space, what's something that's top of your mind right now?
So if we filter down into the DevOps tool space and we think about Hyperglance and some of the other tooling that's out there, how are they thinking about their roadmaps? How are
Hmm.
they thinking about integration points? How are they thinking about AI, and in terms of how that can play a role in terms of those integration points? Because we get asked at Hyperglance, for instance, do you have certain pre-plugged plugins for certain third-party adjacent software, right? Because we're not the end all be all, nor is any software
Hmm.
package for every single use case that's out there. Nor would you want to be, right? We want to stay true to our strategy and our vision and what we're core and add in what our strengths are. So I would say, how do they think about that? How do they think about strategic alliances, pre-integration, how they prioritize that? Where is it going just as a category of software in general in terms of DevOps tooling? Where do they think it's going, and where can those integration and proverbial 1+1 = 3 kind of
Hmm.
alliances be found?
Awesome. Well, Steve, this has been great. So thanks so much for your time, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Walter. Appreciate it.
Okay.